What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from Dancing Gnome, and they are out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and this is their Wishbone. So this is a pale ale that comes in at 5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed, time of review. This can is just under 6 weeks old, and I am super excited, and that's because apparently now we get distribution of Dancing Gnome here in Buffalo, New York. I don't know if it's going to be consistent, but in the past week and a half, we had 3 different beers show up from them: Wishbone, Warm Hand Splash, and I forgot the other one, but I did pick up Wishbone and their Warm Hand Splash because they're kind of connected. This is a 5% pale ale brewed exclusively with Citra hops, and Warm Hand Splash is the double IP version of this beer. So that one is a little bit older, like 6 days older, but I wanted to do the pale ale first because it makes more sense. But I'm really happy because I was going to go see Roger Waters in concert in Pittsburgh in early July. I think it was July 6th with my dad, but we ended up not being able to go, and that was kind of a bummer because I was going to hit up Dancing Gnome and Hitchhiker the next day and maybe a couple other breweries, and I was planning on meeting up with a couple viewers of the channel, but Pittsburgh will have to wait for now. We get an Dancing Gnome, so I'm all pumped up. Anyway, let's crack this one open. 5% pale ale, exclusively with Citra hops, and they have a little spiel on the side that we will read once we are done with the review, if I remember. And I have to say if I remember, because a lot of times I say that in reviews and it just doesn't happen. And I'm in the mood for a 5% crusher of like a hazy pale ale, and that's what I believe this beer is. Very simplistic label, but looks cool. So yeah, that has that milky, like yellow color. Maybe a little darker on camera, but in person, milky yellow, very turbid, very murky. Just over a finger of a soap sudsy bright white head. That looks like a 5% hazy pale ale to me. Let's get a nose. Wow, that smells crazy still. And I say still, like 6 months or 6 weeks old is just under 6 weeks old is all that old, but you never know. I've had 3-4 month old hazy or New England style pale ales, IPAs, double IPAs that have held up, and some have fallen off after 3 or 4 weeks, but this smells intense. Tons of juicy orange, grapefruit, and then a big blast of like mango, apricot, very stone fruit heavy. There's a touch, and I don't get this a lot. Usually Treehouse, people mention it. Sometimes I will get it in Treehouse, sometimes in Hop Butcher and a couple other breweries. I'm getting a slight like bubblegum yeast ester. Very slight. Almost has that juicy fruit kind of vibe to it. Nice herbal kind of floral note too. Man, it smells like it's going to be crushable. And it's pretty warm outside, so I want to get into it. Cheers, everyone. That's great. That is a really crushable, nice, easy drinking 5% hazy pale ale or New England style pale ale, or whatever you want to call it. Body, this is lower side of medium body at 5%. Perfect. The mouthfeel, it's soft, it's smooth. It's not overly creamy or soft. There is some nice carbonation. And I feel like when I drink even hazy / New England style pale ales, I think I want a little bit more carbonation. I think the crisp, refreshing nature of the lower ABV beers, even if they're hop forward, I think it works better than if it's super smooth and creamy, like just like some of your upper echelon mouthfeel producers when it comes to hazies, like your Tree Houses and your Fidens and your Hop Butchers and your other halves. The flavors on the palate, they're intense, but still somewhat like reserved. It's kind of crazy. Front of the palate, lots of citrus, orange, grapefruit mostly. Right after that, big pop of peach and mango, maybe a touch of pineapple. Wasn't getting that in the nose. Then on the second half of the palate, that herbal, floral, kind of slight resinous hop bitterness hits. There's an underlying, like almost like a white, a biscuity maybe more so. There maybe even like a crackery type of malt sensation. I was going to say bready, but no, that's not correct. It's more of like a crackery, slight biscuity kind of malt sensation. It's underneath, omnipresent, propping up all the hops and all the hop forward goodness and all those fruity, juicy, delicious hop notes. Back of the palate, this doesn't have a lot of bitterness, finishes mildly bitter. This is dry though, so this is semi to full on dry. So this beer is not overly sweet because there's all that fruity, juicy goodness at the front of the palate. It's not necessarily like sweet, like you would, if this was a 7.5% or 8% like double IPA, I think it'd be a lot sweeter than it is. And I think this is really balanced, might even lean a little bit more dry, which is perfect for a beer like this. I'm not gonna sit here and say this, oh, this is the best palate I've ever had or anything. No, but it's really good. I thoroughly enjoy this one, and man, it's just a good beer. Price point in my area. We'll go to availability and price point in a second. Price point would dictate this is not something I would buy regularly here just because of the price point. But I'd imagine like at the brewery or in Pittsburgh is probably cheaper. So I have to factor that in a little bit here just because I can't go crazy high with the score. Anyway, there's not much more to say about this. 5% can't even tell there's alcohol. It's a really well-made hazy pale ale. So Wishbone from Dancing Gnome, I'm going to give this a high 4.25 out of 5. I'm going to go 4.35. Almost gets into the low 4.5 range or a straight 4.5. And for the first time, I can honestly say I think price point really stopped it from me going crazy about this one. Why? Not crazy expensive, but it's $5 a can for a 5% pale ale. And I'd imagine at the brewery, and correct me if I'm wrong, any of the Pittsburgh viewers out there, I'd imagine this is probably $16 to $18, probably more in the $16 range, I would imagine, at the brewery. So you're talking $4 a can. That's more in my wheelhouse. If I'm paying $5 a can, I'm getting a double IPA here, whether it's an other half or whoever. You know, like a double IPA will be around $20 a 4-pack. This was basically $20 a 4-pack, but you pay for it because Dancing Gnome, we've never gotten distribution as far as I know from them here. So they show up, they're going to be a little bit more expensive. That's why, depending on where you are, that would dictate whether or not you probably buy this again. I would definitely rebuy this again and try it for the first time, knowing what I know now. But will I ever buy that again? If I saw a place had it on sale for like $16, $18 4-pack, I'd get a 4-pack of that. I honestly would. It's really good. 4.35 out of 5 is a great score. And availability, I know Dancing Gnome was pretty much Pittsburgh / Pennsylvania only. Maybe get drips and drabs out to like New York City or like bigger, like maybe bigger cities in the Northeast. But we now see him here in Buffalo, New York. So if you do get tongue tied there, if you do get Dancing Gnome in your area and you're not in Pennsylvania or New York, let me know. I'd be curious to see how far they make it outside of their area, because as far as I know, they used to be brewery only, and then all of a sudden they're showing up here in Buffalo, and I'm not mad at them. I'm actually super happy. So I can't wait to get in the warm hand splash. If you've had this beer before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know the price point you paid. And like for a 5% hazy pale ale, like this is really fucking good. And I implore anybody here in Western New York that wants a good 5% pale ale, give this a go. Even at $5 a can, I don't think you're going to be too upset about it. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Like I said, 5%, sure, if you say so. Cheers.